Hello everybody, it's San, your engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, we are talking about the latest press release from CRISPR Therapeutics announcing their business update. Of course, this is part of their quarterly updates that just happened this past week. And before we do that, before we jump into today's video, a couple of updates. First of all, I am actually back from San Diego, US. This week I was there for a work conference that we were hosting, and what an amazing city San Diego is. The state of California has something special to it. I always feel like when I'm in California, I'm like some other country, right? It's really interesting. California has an interesting vibe. I think I think a lot of people would understand what I'm saying, especially the folks that actually live there. Anyhow, I do want to jump into today's video here. So CRISPR Therapeutics provides business updates, reports fourth quarter update for the full year of 2023 financial results. So again, whatever we're covering today, I don't really think there's anything new. Again, these are things that are bits and pieces we covered over the past months, especially throughout the year. And let's go into it. Casgevy approved in US, EU, Great Britain, Kingdom of Saudi, and Bahrain. Clinical trials ongoing for next generation of CAR T cells product candidates. CTX112, CTX131 targeting CD19 and CD70 respectively. Clinical trial ongoing for in vivo genome editing product candidates. CTX310, CTX320 targeting ANGPTL3 and LPA, and that of course is with heart disease, the whole segment of heart disease using in vivo that they announced just over a year ago, about more or less. Clinical trial ongoing for CTX211. This is for their type 1 diabetes, and of course this is the next generation of type 1 diabetes, has their ongoing partnership with ViaCyte. Pretty much it's failed with the program they had going with CTX210, I think that's how it was called. Strengthened balance sheet with a nearly 280 million registered direct offering, bringing cash position to over 2.1 billion. Dr. Sam says, quote, and I quote, 2023 was a monumental year for CRISPR Therapeutics with multiple milestones achieved across our pipeline, including the first ever approval of CRISPR-based genome therapy, in addition to entering clinical with first in vivo programs targeting cardiovascular diseases. We continue to advance our next generation CAR T cells programs, which have the best potential in-class cell therapies for the treatment of both liquid and solid tumors. Additionally, we plan to initiate a clinical trial of CTX112 in systematic lupus. I'm not even going to pronounce that, guys. SLE in first half of 2024, with potential to expand additional autoimmune indication in the future. We are excited about our first two in vivo programs that are now in clinic, and also expect to nominate additional in vivo programs, both rare and common disease, mid-year. And they're basically setting up a catalyst-rich 18 to 12 months for the company. So next year and a half for the company is going to be really interesting. I would make the argument that it's pretty much for every single CRISPR company for the next 18 months. We got lots of things in the pipeline. So that's the end of the quotation anyways. So again, Dr. Sam listing what we already know. But what's interesting here is they're doubling down on their in vivo programs. Again, this was something they released just over a year ago, them venturing into the in vivo side of things. Again, CRISPR Therapeutics was always known for CRISPR-Cas9, ex vivo, the whole first gen CRISPR, of course being successful at it with Casgevy, formerly known as XSL, formerly known as CTX110. And of course, this is for sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. And I'm not going to go with all the updates that we've already covered with their, treatment centers opening in the US and EU. I saw that the French National Authority, they have a request for early access program for the use of Casgevy to treat eligible people with beta thalassemia. Of course, France is part of the EU. Again, EU is big, guys. I want to remind viewers, EU is not just one, two, three, four countries. It's a set of countries, right? France, Germany, Italy, Greece. I mean, well, I can go down the list there. So lots of potential there in the EU, but of course, US is the biggest markets for obvious reasons. But huge win for Cash Java, and of course, currently reviewing Switzerland and submission in Canada planned for the first half of 2024. So that's of course near dear in my heart, and hopefully Canadians see the value of this program sooner than later. And using the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation grant, they're sort of expanding on top of their grants, of course, not just their grant, but they're expanding on Cash Java to actually treat more patients from the sickle cell beta thalassemia. People have to remind that Cash Java program, as it is, it really can only treat a segment of beta thalassemia and sickle cell disease. It doesn't treat every single patient for many reasons that I'm not going to go into. But of course, that program needs additional modifications, just like we saw here, an anti-CD117 antibody drug conjugate. So that's in preclinical trials. So lots of things happening, even with Cas9, outside of the other programs that this company is working on. But of course, the big news here in this press release, other than the cash balance sheet, their latest, raising $200 million from direct offering to a specific set of investors, is really their in vivo side of things. I think these guys are going doubling down on it. I think they're really bullish on it. And it makes sense, right? In vivo is, in a sense, a superior technology for many use cases than ex vivo, right? As a reminder, ex vivo, you gotta go to the human body, extract the cells, put that in the lab, do the modification, transport back to the hospital, the treatment center, get that patient in again, and then inject that in their body. And, you just introduce a whole set of delays, errors, probability of errors. And again, ex vivo makes sense for some use cases based on what I've researched. In vivo makes sense for other use cases. Of course, in vivo is, you basically inject in the liver, for example, and you hope for the best. And that's what NTLA has done for NTLA 2001 and 2002, and they've been successful at it. So CRISPR Therapeutics looking at it and said, we want to have a piece of that technology, or at least a way of delivering our therapy. And they're doing what is the leading cause of death in America, which is heart disease. And of course, ANGPTL3 is that type of protein that can really, really help with cardiovascular disease, a wide set of disease, just like you can see in this paragraph here. So what they're doing here is amazing, and they're looking at, they're actually nominating additional programs by mid of this year, so within the next few months. The trial of the current program here for 310 and 320 has already started. They're already, phase 1 clinical trial already ongoing, and phase 1 is trial to open with patients. So they're enrolling patients, they're going through it. These guys are not slowing down. So they're doing other things, of course, with type 1 diabetes. A little bit too early to talk about that, especially with the recent news that their partnership with Viaside pretty much failed, that I covered in my previous video. Look up for that video if you guys are interested. So more or less a great press release, a great business update. Of course, this was on February 21, this week that just happened. Am I excited for this company? Absolutely, I am. Am I bullish? Of course I am. Is it my leading horse in the race? It is absolutely the leading horse in the race of CRISPR. They're the only company with a approved CRISPR therapy. They're the only company that actually can have a commercial type of program that can actually generate revenue. They're not the only company with multiple set of programs with different technologies, right? You see NTLA doing it, you see Beam Therapeutics doing it. But the first, parameters that I just brought up are probably the most important things. And I think most investors, especially institutional investors, see that. That's why they were able to, raise, over $200 million registered a direct offering, right? Because institutional investors, like, look, there are many companies in this crypto landscape. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of successful company in this space, but this is the company right now that we want to bet our odds on, because this is the company that, got their program approved. They can generate cash revenue right now for the next 2-3 years. NTLA is gonna do it. Okay, I'm telling you right now, guys. NTLA will do it with NTLA 2001, 2002. But will it happen next year? Will it happen in 2 years? And again, time is money, right? And of course, patients need those therapies, right? And governments are willing to spend on it, especially since the pandemic. I've talked about it many times in this channel. The whole healthcare side, medicine side, took a huge investment for governments since the pandemic, because now the public is behind it, right? There was a time before the pandemic that medicine and therapy sort of slowed down, and now with the emergence of technologies, of course, with CRISPR, with the publicity of CRISPR, and of course, we're looking at all sorts of cost cutting in that space. Again, the cost of developing these technologies have decreased dramatically, and then it just makes sense now you have an emergence of CRISPR, for example. And there are many tools in this space, right? In the whole biotech medicine space. You look at genomic space, rather. You look at what Sana Biotechnology is doing, right? There are many companies not using CRISPR that are, have a really good outlook. But I think when we look at CRISPR therapeutics, it's not just about being safe. It's still a risky space. I mean, people have to remind themselves this company is operating at a loss for, since they're, since being born in the business world, right? They're just having the potential to generate revenue, and we don't even know, we don't even have a quarter of an actual cash generating activity there. And I'm hoping next quarter is going to be that. Who knows? This takes, even if you get your program approved, it takes time to generate revenue. So this is a great quarter for this company. I'm extremely bullish for it. We'll see what happens. As always, guys, subscribe if you're not. Do subscribe. It really does help the channel. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you guys think. Like this video, of course. Let me know, of course, in the comments, like I said, what do you guys think about this quarter, CRISPR Therapeutics. And anyways, I do miss San Diego there. A couple of travels here in the following weeks/months. So it'll be interesting next few months. Thank you, guys.